Today my report is about Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo's family. He was the third son of Joseph Hugo and Sophie Trebuchet, born in year 1802 at Besancon in the region of France. Hugo's father was a high-ranked officer in Napoleon's army. Young Victor Hugo fell in love and against his mother's wishes became secretly engaged to his childhood friend Adele Fouchier, year 1803 until 1868. Being a good son and because of his close relationship to his mother, Hugo waited until after his mother's first death in year 1821 to marry Adele in year 1822. Adele and Victor's life. Adele and Victor had their first child, Leopold, in 1823, but the boy died in infancy. The following year, on 28th of August 1824, the couple's second child, Leopoldine, was born. Hugo's oldest and favorite daughter, Leopoldine, died at age 19 in 1843, shortly after her marriage to Charles Vachier. Hugo was traveling with his mistress at that time in the south of France and first learned about Leopoldine's death from a newspaper he read at a cafe. He described his shock and grief in his famous poem, A la Vachier. Victor Hugo's publication. Hugo published his first novel the year following his marriage, Han the Island, in year 1823, and followed by The Hunchback of Notre Dame. This was a famous story of Quasimodo preserving the beauty and historical value of one specific church in France. This movie or story was created to criticize people who destroys and does not give value to some historical places they have. After this piece was published, restoration and preservation of Renaissance buildings had followed. Next publication is Les Miserables. Hugo began planning a major novel about social misery and injustice as early as 1830s, but it would take a full 17 years for Les Miserables to be realized and finally published in 1862. Hugo was acutely aware of the quality of the novel, and publication of the work went to the highest bidder. Victor Hugo's religion. Hugo's rationalism can be found in poems such as Torquemada, year 1869, about religion's fanaticism, The Pope, 1878, anti-clerical, Religious and Religion, in the year 1880, denying the usefulness of the churches, and published posthumously The End of Satan and God, in year 1866 and 1891, respectively, in which he represents Christianity as a griffin and rationalism as an angel. Vincent van Gogh ascribed the saying, "Religions pass away, but God remains." Actually, it is by Jules Michelet to Hugo. Victor Hugo was born as a Christian, but sooner as he encountered life, he decided to become a non-practicing Christian to a free thinker. When Hugo returned to Paris in 1870, the country hailed him as a national hero. Within a brief period, he suffered a mild stroke, his daughter Adele's internment in an insane asylum, and the death of his two sons. Adele's biography inspired the movie The Story of Adele H. His wife Adele had died in 1868. His faithful mistress, Juliette Roth, died in year 1883, only 2 years before his own death. Despite his personal loss, Hugo remained committed to the cause of political change. On 30th of January 1876, Hugo was elected the newly created Senate. Victor Hugo's death from pneumonia on 22nd of May, year 1885, at the age of 83, generated intense national mourning. He was not only revered as a towering figure in literature, he was a statesman who shaped the Third Republic and democracy in France. More than 2 million people joined his funeral procession in Paris from the Arc of the Triomphe to the Pantheon, where he was buried. Hugo left 5 sentences as his last will to be officially published. I leave 50,000 francs to the poor. I want to be buried in their hearse. I refuse funeral orations of all churches. I beg a prayer to all souls. I believe in God. Last trivia for Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo was known as the punctuation man because of his encounter during the publication of Les Miserables. He sent a letter to his publishing company containing only a single question mark to ask, "How's the book going?" And the publishing company replied with an exclamation point to indicate success. That's the end of my report.